I think that one should know one is acting. I think we can sit on the street corner and see the real people. And I think a terrible thing has happened today. It's all getting so real. Very little makeup, no hair, nothing. And I always believed that acting was larger than life.
When I come up against a director who has a concept that maybe I don't agree with it, maybe I just hadn't thought of it or whatever, I'd be more prone to go with them than my own, because I want to be out of control as an actor. I want them to have the control. Otherwise, it's going to become predictably my work. And that's not fun.
I always was attracted to it since I can remember, you know? I was very attracted to being on stage or singing or being paid attention to. And I always shined under those conditions, or I certainly felt good until it was over. And then I felt guilty. But you know, that's why.
Żeby widownia mogła patrzeć na nasze filmy, potrzebni są aktorzy, którzy niosą ze sobą coś, co nie da się napisać ani w scenariuszu, co nie da się przewidzieć przez reżysera. Coś, co jest elementem jakby zupełnie nieobliczalnym. Tym nieobliczalnym, najbardziej elementem filmu jest aktor. A przecież u aktora oczy są najważniejsze, dlatego że oczy albo kłamią, albo mówią prawdę.
It's the best work is very often done out of almost complete feelings and actualities of complete inadequacy, and you strive and strive, and you get the conditions for making that development.
Right.
A vital part of the work is listening and looking and really taking in what the other characters are doing and what they are saying, and to respond to that.
The body was for me a vehicle to break into the films because I wasn't a professional actor. So it was a very good vehicle for me. I mean, it's a visual thing. People are interested in looking at it. Being, you know, the most perfectly developed man and most muscular man, it's something people like to look at. Like, for instance, we took pictures out the other day on the beach. There were, you know, 100 photographers out there because I was posing with some girls. Now, that you could have any kind of actor, the best actor in the world, go out there on the beach posing, nobody will come. You know, that's the thing. I mean, it's something that carries me through until I'm established in acting.
And you're confident that you have a talent as an actor equal to your talent as a body?
I'm as confident, yeah. When I was 15 years old, I said I would be the best or the greatest bodybuilder of all times, and I have done it. And now I'm as confident than when I was 15. I can say now I will be the best actor around.
Well, you know, this is part of my, it's part of my life. I mean, when I shoot a picture in Italy, all the little treasure that you carry with you since your childhood comes out, because you really work in your own country. You speak your own language, so you can express yourself in a wonderful way. I know that I speak English quite well, but it's not my own native language. And the characters that I can do in Italy, they are familiar to me. And I think I'm best in these roles.
Was it the hard struggle that you had in your childhood, do you think, that gave you the ambition and the drive to become the success that you are?
Can be part of it, yes.
I mean, it's true that you were hungry.
But you can be
starving.
ambitious. You can dream about success. You can have it. But I don't think that if you don't have a talent, you can't last very long. Impossible.
Are you sure that you had a talent that you were born with, or did you learn?
Well, then I was not sure, but I think now for the things that I have done, maybe a little talent I have.
Anything you do as many times as a successful actor, you can't have one set of theories. You know, you can go for years saying, I'm going to get this thing real, because they really haven't seen it real. You know, they just keep seeing one fashion of unreal after the other that passes as real. and you go mad with realism, and then you come up against someone like Stanley who says, yeah, it's real, but it's not interesting.
I don't see myself like Katharine Hepburn actually at all, because the reason why I don't is because she's like, I just see her as just being headstrong, just throwing herself into situations all the time with a great amount of energy. And me, it's always like I'm coming in the back door, sneaking in, trying to worm my way in. I mean, I'm gonna get there, but it's like, I'm more afraid than she is, and I admire the way she goes into things. I wish I were more like that.
That's why I was never an actress. I never was in love with myself. I would go to a party and I'd see Dolores Del Rio and Constance Talmadge and Constance Bennett, all these beautiful women, and I'd say, you're the ugliest one here. You're black and furry, you've got freckles, your dress is not as attractive. And in the end, unless you can't be a great actress, unless you think you're beautiful, and it's of the essence. And I remember...
I'm wondering what sense you mean a great actress, because
I mean a great actress.
But you're a contradiction of this.
No, I'm not. To be a great actress, you must know what you're doing. When I write my little piece, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
When I acted, I hadn't the slightest idea what I was doing. I was simply playing myself, which is the hardest thing in the world to do. Mm-hmm. You can give most actors any part in the world and they can play it. But they say, be yourself, they get terribly self-conscious. But since I never learned to act, I never had any trouble playing myself.
You talk about your characters with affection. Do you get involved in them and think of them as people?
Yeah, I'm used to looking at them as people, because a lot of films, if I'm directing a film particularly, I look at the person up there as another person. And I can relate to myself as another person on the screen. Most of the time, in your early days as a performer, you sit there and look at yourself and you go, oh my God, what am I doing? Oh, why? But then after a while, I look at him as just another character in the scenario.
So how is it possible to achieve a lack of self-consciousness when your appearance and people's expectations they have of you, given the roles that you have played, is very much part of the expectations?
Well, because I never think in terms of what people's impressions of me is. I can't, whatever their impressions are, their impressions are. If I can't think of that, if I thought of that, I wouldn't be able to think of the project at hand.
So you're attracted to characters who, for whatever reason, feel very strongly and are driven by some kind of...
Yeah, driven by something, and driven by some sort of passion, whether it's misguided or not.
If it hadn't been for that, volley of ideas and sometimes butting of heads together, it wouldn't have come out as good as it did. And it also helps get the emotion up and the concentration up, because it builds up anger, actually, and you get more out of yourself. And he knew that, and he knew he was getting more out of me by doing that. So it was sort of like a game. You appreciate all the pain. I mean, you always dislike whatever the cause is of pain. You always resent it. So I resented Stanley at times because he pushed me, and it hurt. And I resented him for it. I thought, why do you want to do this to me? How can you do this to me? You agonize over it. And it's just a necessary turmoil to get out of it what you want out of it. I mean, we had the same end in mind. It was just that sometimes we differed in our means. And by the end, the means met. And I find I really respect him and really like him, both as a person and as a director. I mean, I'm amazed. He's taught me more than I've learned on all the other pictures I've done within 1 year's time on one picture.
I had one director in England who was wonderful. About halfway through every take, he'd say, "Cut, cut." There'd be a long silence, and I'd look at him, I'd say, "How would you like me to do it?" Just do it again. So we'd do it again, and then there'd be this cut. We went through the whole picture like that, and I never knew what was giving him this pain.